My eyes were in my hands.
You are tuned in to www.OGHUSKEYRADIO.com, broadcasting live from the east side of Los Angeles, worldwide. Every Thursday night, we have artists come through to the east side to get interviewed. Why? I don't know, because if I didn't live here, I would not drive these fucking streets at night. So each person that comes through, I give them props, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's up? What's up? This is Mir One from the CBS crew, Los Angeles, West Coast, California.
Mir1.com, Mir1.com, and then also the YouTube channel. What's the YouTube channel?
What is it? It's Mir One HD.
So what's up, man? How's it going, man?
Man, you know, trying to survive that drive.
Let's get into it, man. The name Mir, where does it come from?
It's manifest energy and radiate.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
at what age did that come through? Because I know that wasn't like I'm 7 years old and Mir's my name. And
well, I was doing graffiti in junior high school. I was tagging up names like Mace and Menace, and for some reason I like the M. And you know, back then it was all about letters, and I got used to these letters, and I knew all these other kids that were doing graffiti, and some of their homies happened to write the names that I kept choosing, so I kept getting, you know, punked for my name. And I was looking for some uniqueness somewhere, and I thought of Mir as sounded like some king of Mars or some way out shit, and I was like, you know what, no one's gonna have this fucking name. This is mine, you know. So that's why I chose Mir, and later on it came to me manifest energy and radiate, you know, kind of acronymed it.
And you definitely do that through your art, man. That's what's dope about that. Who are some of the artists you would see up as a kid? You know, because there's kids now who like, oh man, I grew up on Mir, you know what I mean? Like, who did Mir grow up on?
Oh man, I grew up on Minor and Risk from WCA. I grew up on Rise from KSN. You know, I grew up on Skept. Who else? You know, K2S crew, UTI crew, Skill. I remember being a youngster and loving Slick's work.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? His early stuff, really big inspiration to me. Hex, you know.
You a Hollywood cat or a West LA cat?
I'm Hollywood. Yeah.
That didn't sound right. I'm Hollywood.
I'm Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely. So Hollywood, you got to see, man, from the beginning, everything cracking.
Well, you know what, man? Hollywood's got a great history, man. Most people are unaware of it. When they think of LA and the West Coast, they think of like the tough neighborhoods as being like Compton and Watts, or like, you know, way out in the fucking valley or something, or East LA. But quite frankly, Hollywood Boulevard in the late 70s and the 80s was
80s,
the heart of the hardest of the hard. I mean, all the homies getting out of county, the first place they went was to go hang up on Hollywood. If you were some Rolling 30s or 18th Street or White Fence or Rascals or Carnales, any of these gangs, all of them hung out up on Hollywood. I mean, shit, I was getting beat up in every video game parlor my whole life hanging on Hollywood, man.
That's some 80s shit.
Yeah,
man. The video part.
All you homies out there kicked my ass. Yeah, what's up? Now you listening to me now, huh, motherfucker? Yeah.
What got you into it though? Like, I know the revolution and your that's where
the revolution, man. You know, where were you at?
That's where it's at now, and we see your work and it's inspiring. But at that young age, what honestly, man, was it
man,
fame?
That shit smells good. Someone's smoking something. What got me into it? You know, straight up, man, my mother was a hippie back in the 60s. You know, she was a hitchhiking, you know, psychedelic artist, free thinking, you know, person, you know, that was anti-establishment and really believed in a utopian, more of a science-based, more of something real, a utopian reality that was, you know, really being cooked up by the intellectuals and the youth in our country during the 1960s when we had Vietnam War going on. You had people like Timothy Leary that were exposing people to LSD, not in the sense to have free sex and party and get crazy, but in the sense to see deeper into their own reality, see deeper into the political structure that our spirits, our souls are coexisting in, you know. And I think that my mom's way of interpreting life and what life is all about and what I should be living for, opposed to what a lot of people were chasing down, was so profound and powerful that I just couldn't go get a day job, man. I had to, you know, I don't know. I had to go vandalize walls and throw rocks at buses and, you know, scream profanity at authority.
What was your anger? Where were you? What was your anger against then at that age? Like,
I think my anger, quite honestly, I think my anger came from growing up like in the hood and being white and seeing all my homeboys were, you know, I grew up with a bunch of Latino homeboys. And so like when we would get busted as a group of us, I would always sit on the cop car and my friends would get their faces kicked into the dirt. And as a young kid, like that shit, it hit me deep. It bothered me. And I had a lot of anger towards that. You know, I didn't have much anger towards my family or towards the world. You know, I was pretty happy-go-lucky artist kid, you know, but my environment was so fucked up. And I grew up off of Fountain and Highland, right down the street from Hollywood High School. In the 1970s, we had like massive black prostitution going on Sunset Boulevard. Down in Santa Monica, you had like some gay prostitution shit jumping off. You had gang hoods pocketing everywhere. You had drugs. You had pornography. You just had the filthiest filth. Hollywood was just filthy. Yeah. You know? And I think I generally just resented the fact that rich white people created these conditions for your average human to exist in. Because I was poor, I didn't get to grow up the way my other white friends did. And so I got to see two different worlds. It made me very angry. And I think that's the basis of my anger, was just the lack of responsibility this country takes for its people.
With your mom being a hippie, dude, at a young age, did you realize what role politics plays in the shit that goes on in the hood, especially in the midst of it? You're so growing up in the hood, people don't understand. It's like you're just worried about survival, man. Like you're not looking like who's in charge of this. No, I'm worried who's on the block, what's cracking, am I gonna get caught up in some bullshit? And at what point do you realize like politics have a huge fucking impact on what's going on here?
Well, I had a small little family. I just had my grandmother, my mom, and my uncle, but we would all get together and have like dinner on the weekend, and everyone would get drunk. Not me, I was a little kid, but everyone would get drunk. I'd have a little sipper myself, and you know, a little pot, a little wine, whatever, and a little political discussion would come out during dinner, and I got to take part in adult conversation as a little kid. Shit. You know, they respected me and my views, and they encouraged me to have them, and so. You know, just from day one, I always felt that it was important to form a critical understanding of something and be willing to talk about it. Otherwise, you know, what's the point?
Is graffiti political or just your art is? Like, because I mean, I'll put it like, you walk by the average walls nowadays where, you know, people get permission and I'm going to put my fucking name in. That's what we're gonna do a production on, you know what I mean? And
yeah, well,
is it political?
Justin Bieber's doing graffiti now. I don't know, man. Shit.
So I mean, you know, he wasn't out there in Hollywood in the '80s, out there.
Oh
with
man,
Triax and Skep.
Oh man, that guy would have been chewing gum back in the days, man. Fuck. Nah, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think. Is graffiti political or am I political? Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm doing graffiti is because it attracted me in the first place. Graffiti is political inherently for the simple fact that you give yourself permission and nobody else is. And we live in a reality where everything is passed down through authority. So to give yourself permission to go and do what you want, it's extremely liberating, and it falls in line with what all political-minded people start out with, is the desire to feel free and not repressed.
Once again, listen to OGHUSKEYRADIO.com, Mir1.com. Make sure you guys go out there, check it out. And YouTube, Mir1 HD. Where the knowledge in the symbolism that you use, man? There's a lot of symbols in your work, man, that we see. Where does that... Where are you getting the symbols from, man? You just Google or?
Yeah, man, it's all Google, man. It's all BS, man. Just Google it. Nah, you know, I think that symbolism is an amazing way to communicate things that are hard to talk about. You know, symbolism brings into conversation entire worlds of thought and it puts them in a way that you know what I'm talking about when I put it in that sense. Like when, for instance, when you see a cross, you see the ultimate symbol of human suffering, or when you see a circle, you think of a union of some sort, and so these things are inherent. They're consistent through our psyche. And I'm deeply fascinated with this stuff. I mean, everything from, just being, graffiti being political makes you critical in itself. And when you become critical of the world around you, you start to notice there's things that are hard to talk about. And it's even harder to talk to other people about them if they don't understand it. And a symbol is a shortcut bridge. It cuts that process down and makes it immediate, where we can recognize something. Like, when you see a black fist, you recognize, some power to the people type shit.
Definitely.
Especially if it's, put in a specific way with radiance around it and it's done in a certain light. Maybe there's some barbed wire around it or something. There's some, these symbols, they take, it's language. It's language, bottom line. I mean, the Egyptians' whole system and the Mayan system was all based on symbolism.
Do you have formal art classes, like art, schooling and stuff of that nature?
I wasn't one after high school to carry on of my art training, but I actually took all my art training preschool. As a little kid, I was going to Barnesdale and USC Science Center and different college classes that my mother was enrolled in, life drawing, figurative drawing, painting, whatever. I was studying this stuff at an early age and learning how to just dive into it and like I'm talking about that term permission, not wait for permission. I couldn't wait to just do it.
What was the point where you could, in your life, where that transition came, where like, what, we're hitting these trains, I'm top to bottom, I'm doing this, but then like, wow, damn, I gotta do more than that. Where was that transition for you, where like, my art is that I could do something with my art? Where did that come for you?
Well, I'm from this Can't Be Stopped crew, and the head of my crew, Skate One, back in the early days, huge effect on my life. Huge human being who had like massive a level of magnetism. He's just a great spirit, powerful being. To teach me the ways of graffiti and kind of like bring kids together. He died, and he died by doing what he loved most, doing graffiti, one night out in the Woodman Yard in the valley. That hit me and my friends really heavy. All of us come from single mothers, latchkey kids, no pops, maybe a brother or sister, but growing up in the Hollywood area or West LA or wherever it be, downtown, East Side, Valley. We grew up all over, but we had one thing in common. We didn't have a family that, like, a lot of people have: moms, dads, brothers, sisters, cousins, grandparents. We were really outcast, and skate brought us together, and we formed a family. And so when he died, it was heavy, and it made me realize that the art form that I'm working on was really serious, that people die all the time, but for different reasons. But today, someone died for art, and it was the form of art that I'm doing, and it just put it in a way that made it very serious, life and death, black and white.
At that time, before that, was it just fun and shit? Like,
yeah,
much?
yeah, man. We were like rolling off our head out the window, half the, hanging the car by our toes, like just flying in the air, loving it, smashing shit in the wind.
Yeah, dude, I mean,
setting fire to the whole
I
thing.
Think that's what people, what they don't understand either, is that at that era of graph, or let's just say of hip hop, it was just fun. Like, it wasn't necessarily like. You were telling me off there, like, it wasn't even for fame. Like, nah. It was just...
I mean, we all kept our personalities hidden.
Yeah.
Our personality was on the wall. It wasn't on us. Like, we were the mystery man that disappeared in the darkness, and you wondered who did that dope shit. It wasn't about, like, pulling your shirt up and flexing in front of everyone, screaming that you just did that. Check me out, and bragging on MySpace or, Facebook or whatever the fuck that, we're doing now, Twitter.
With that, has the internet helped graph, or has it fucked it up?
It's just been part of the evolution, man. I mean, you know, the internet has helped fucking humanity in a billion ways, right? And it's also fucked us up in a billion ways. I mean, you got to move forward, man. You can't stay back in the 80s. It was good.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, everything's got to change. You don't want things to last forever. You want things to evolve, and like a flower, you want it to blossom and bloom and die, because you want more seeds to hit the ground for more flowers to bloom.
I think we need something to blame because something has passed us by, and like you say, you're embracing change, so it's something to blame. Part of what we do here is we don't sugarcoat this shit. So I have Mirror One right in front of me, and with your long history, we're dating back to like early 80s, 86, maybe late 80s. But did the tag banging, did you ever partake in any of that? That's definitely part of LA graffiti history, you know. And I think a lot of people, especially they come back, you know, do their stint and come off, they don't acknowledge that, you know what I mean? And did Mirror One have any part of that? I mean, you're a part of LA Graph.
I got kicked out of all my schools for setting fire to the bathrooms and burning down the computer rooms. So fuck yeah, I got involved in that shit, man. I mean, I remember riding down Hollywood Boulevard with spray paint, tagging up the inside of the bus, and we just pop the window open and jump out in traffic, and the bus would stop and the driver would chase us 2 blocks. And that was just, we weren't even going anywhere. We were just riding, you know, riding? And we just get on the bus going the opposite direction next to do the same damn thing. And that slowly turned, you know, bus tagging's what turned into tag banging, you know, because, you know, we get like 10 of us together and go mob up to a part of the city. Fools didn't know us at. And, you know, everyone would want to jump you. They'd be like, who are you coming in my section of town? Who are these new kids? You get fights going on, and we'd want to go back a week later. Like, you know what? Let's go back and get them. You know, and
anyone outside of from that era has like they can't even acknowledge that. But to understand, it's pretty much, no, we're not a gang, but these dudes just shot at us. We're from the hood. We're not gonna like not shoot back. You know what I mean? Like, and oh shit, you're a gang now? No, but like that fool jumped us, so now we go back.
I mean,
you know.
I mean, where I was coming from though, because like I didn't have family first of all. So I was a loner. I was like this outsider trying to find my place, you know. And so where I came from, like, it wasn't so much like, let's go get them and gangbang or any of that. It was more like, you know what? Let's take this 5-gallon bucket. Like, let's go up on the 2nd floor of this building. And when that bus comes by, let's throw it all over the whole bus, you know, and paint the whole bus green. Or like, what else would we do? Like, let's take this sledgehammer and let's beat the name CBS into the wall. Like, we don't need to paint it on the wall. Let's just beat holes in the wall and it'll say our name. Or, you know, I mean, we were just like, the tag banging era, what it did was it basically said, not only are there no rules, but I dare you to get as crazy as you want to get, you know? So meanwhile, other kids were out shooting each other and like hurting each other. I was taking it to a place of like, well, while the cops are checking them out, let's go blow this window up and catch a tag inside there and be like, aha, motherfucker, what? You know, and you know, let's set some trash cans on fire, cause a disturbance over there. Let's go paint this rooftop. Let's go drink some beer and feel free. And then let's just, you know, go home tagging the whole way and kicking trash in the streets and raising hell and screaming at everyone. And it was like, it was unbelievable, the type of behavior we were doing. It was insane, really. But I mean, I think that someone had to do that, and someone had to go there so that we could understand what we were living under. Yeah. You know, what are the rules here? You know, how far can you take something before you're dead, locked up for life, or, you know, beating someone up, or someone's beating you up, or, you know, you get lucky from it and everyone loves you for what you did. You know, what's the balance there, you know?
Are there rules in graph?
There's like I say this all the time, there's comfort zones in graph, and if you do not participate, to be a graffiti artist means you must participate. You can't be an outsider and call yourself a graffiti artist and not get down with everyone and just come from the outside, put your thing up, and then claim I'm a graffiti artist. Everyone love me now. You're gonna get beat up for that. But if you participate, you've then earned the place to discover what those comfort zones are. And once you discover those comfort zones, you get along just fine with everybody. And I think that's part of the process.
So as an artist, do you have to pay dues in the street? to use the graffiti medium?
Well, to be a graffiti artist, you definitely gotta pay dues. To be a street artist, you can cheat and you could fake it and use the term street art and fake it and get away with it.
But don't say graph art.
But don't say graffiti artist because you're gonna get called out. The reason graffiti artists don't get upset over kids calling themselves street artists is because they draw a distinction between the two. Me, I can do street art and I can do graph art because I am a graffiti artist, and because I see a bigger world than just graffiti art. I can glue my poster on the street. I can smack a sticker up. I also don't have to be some Alfred E. Newman fucking dumbass kid of a bucket and a roller and think that's my life, you know? So
Mirror1.com.
Yeah, motherfuckers.
OGHUSKEYRADIO.com. Got Mirror One up in the spot. Good conversation, man. You know, kids now growing up looking up Mirror One is, you know what I mean? That's the artist we grew up on. What advice would you give a 12-year-old kid then? Like, knowing that if you're going to go into graph, you're going to have to pay dues. Laws are different. Times have changed. Considering all that, what does Mirror One tell a 12-year-old kid that deciding to get into this culture, man?
Well, definitely. I mean, you know, it's kind of hard to look at someone like myself or look at one of my elders, like someone say like Risky or Slick, and say like, oh, I want to be one of these guys. It's a different world, man. The only way you can get close to being one of those type of dudes is to reinvent it, because the game's different now. Cell phones, street cameras, police that'll shoot and kill you if you reach in your pocket. That shit's totally different, man. I came from the chokehold era where they were killing motherfuckers of chokeholds, you know? And that was like, whoa, the cops are crazy. They're chokeholding people. Now, you know, you get pulled over for a normal traffic violation, you reach for your wallet, they'll blow your head off.
Or even just say you're reaching for your
Oh, yeah. Or just say something or just make a smart remark, man. You might get took to the alleyway, you know? And it's a different game. Not to say that never happened before, but it's pretty consistent now. And it's just a way more
common practice.
Well, I mean, our lives, there was a question of how much they were worth back in the 80s. There's no question now. Your life ain't worth shit. You know, and we know that now, and that's the difference. Back then, there was the assumption that, no, hold on, my life is worth something. Now, people will admit my life ain't worth shit. And that's why the cops have no respect for us. You know, because we don't value ourselves enough. We don't stand up for our shit.
Can your graph change? What do you stand to gain when they drive by a wall and they see the symbolisms and the messages? I mean, so many messages that, you know, because even with that, they might take it different. They might say, like, he's working for them. Look at the symbolism he used. Or,
well,
you know.
I use a great example, man. I painted a mural right up the street from here, up on Pasadena and 29th. It's called The Allegory of Complacency. And I had two distinctive situations come upon me that I thought were very interesting. The first one was some essays rolled up on me. And they wanted to know what I was all about, who I was, and did I want to get high? And I said, yes. And then
to all questions.
And to everything, yes. And then it was like, but right now. And I was like, oh, right now. Oh, sorry. So let me put the paint down. Let me come hang with you right now. I didn't realize it was like right now. And I got to know these dudes, and they were fucking cool, man. Sure. You know what I mean? It was just very intense, but it's very cool. And I think dudes was cool with me too, because, you know, I don't have no backup. It's just me out there. I'm no threat, and I'm not worried about nothing. I'm cool, and I think they could tell. Yeah. The cops rolled up another day now, and they want to know what I was doing. And I explained my mural pretty in depth to them. You know, it's about people that have fallen asleep, that have become entranced by something that's slowly killing them, you know. And you know, it's based off this poem by Plato, you know, The Allegory of the Cave, and we get into that. But point being is that I explained the poem to the cops, and then I asked them a little critical question. I was like, you know, you guys ever get off work and go home at nighttime, and you might be brushing your teeth or shaving your face, getting ready for bed, and you ever look in the mirror and ask yourself, is this what I set out to do? Is this who I really want it to be when I decided to become an LAPD officer? Man, I don't know what the hell's going on in the LAPD, but these dudes were so affected by that, they couldn't say nothing. All they could do is look at me, kind of swallow, look at each
Wow.
other, and say, okay, we got to go now.
Trip out.
And, I think by primering them with some depth and then hitting them with an idea like that, it's more so in the moment. There was something about the moment, but I hit them, and I think it affected them. I think that they knew that what I was saying, there was something about that more beyond it being right, that it hurting them, that it hurt.
Yeah, because even if it was offensive or something like that, it could have easily escalated to that. You know what I mean? But since you did come at them like that and you chopped it up with them, I definitely. Do you fear because you use those symbolisms that you'll become a martyr, a target?
No, because I put myself out there. Excuse me. I put myself out there in a public sense where the chronic. I put myself out there in a sense publicly that it gives me the ability to speak on a certain level. I mean, I know my parameters and my boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with what I talk about or think about, and that's the main part about it. There's a distinction between somebody who does not know how to conduct themselves and puts out offensive work just for shock value to better themselves or to popularize themselves. And there's the difference between someone who's speaking about the obvious and putting it together in an intelligent form that requires an intelligent response. And that's what I'm asking for. I am not asking for an ignorant response. And I think that's why I won't be a martyr to this game, because I'm not stooping down to that low level of neediness. Shock value, yeah.
Does the Illuminati exist?
Kind of. I mean, and I say that loosely. I mean, whether there's an organization called the Illuminati, or you call it the Bilderberg Group, or the Trilateral, or the CFR, or the United Nations,
or OG Husky Radio,
OG Husky Radio, or CBS Crew, I don't know. I'll tell you this: there's definitely a cabal of very wealthy people who are only looking out for themselves, and they are able to use their influence to manipulate the powers that be on political decisions globally. And that's a constant, and we've been dealing with that since the forming of this country, for sure. But I mean, I think Europe has been dealing with it for centuries and centuries, and it, a lot of people, I'm sure the audience is pretty well educated online. This theory takes us back thousands of years, possibly.
So we know that Mom's had the books around you were picking up as a kid.
Yeah.
And it have had a lot of influence on your ideas or your beliefs and stuff of that nature. But where are your news sources now? Like, where's Mir One getting this these GMO things and all this other stuff that I don't seem to be able to find on World Star Hip Hop or on, whatever. You know what I mean? Where are you getting all that shit?
Well, I think there's the idea of being an awakened soul and ascending, waking up, and if you follow that path long enough, you will eventually arrive at your destination. And I've been trying to wake up since I was a little kid. My mother was trying to wake up, and I was born unto someone who was trying to wake up. And so the process of waking up is understood differently through me than what you're gonna find just casually being promoted. It's a deep process. It takes a lifetime. You can't just get hip to what's on YouTube and suddenly wake up. I've been reading these books before they were videos, and before that.
One book right now, anyone could just one book. Like, if you could just, this one will be the gateway drug, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I started out with some fun stuff like "Behold a Pale Horse" by Bill Cooper. But I mean, I ended up getting into some really more academic type research, stuff like writer Richard Tarnas, who's a historian who rewrites our history, or some of the new physicists that are happening right now, like Nassim Haramein, people that are reinventing physics and the way we look at our reality, breaking away from the heliocentric universe into an electrically driven universe, and way out stuff that I probably shouldn't be talking too much about because I'm not a professor. I'm just, these are the things that fascinate me. My mind, I got a visual mind. I can see stuff in 3D, so I can. Oh, go for it.
Have you ever done a piece or done some letters and looked at it and like, it's not what you pictured in your mind, but then people are just still like, fuck, that shit's sick, and it's not what you envisioned? Or do you have the ability to, everything that you picture in your mind, you can?
I try to replicate what's going on in my head. I mean, that's the whole challenge, and I think that every artist deals with a truce with themselves. Like a point where they're like, okay, this is good enough for me. But yeah, I think my pursuit is to get the vision in my mind worked out on the surface, whatever it is. But as I was saying before, like, I can like take an idea just because, I encourage more people to think this way. It's ridiculous, physics and science, they take shit so way out there that you can't understand anything. And really, nature and reality is being proven time and time again. Everything is way more logical and way more obvious than all of this madness, these variables that they throw at us. A lot of that stuff is just legacies trying to be protected and people that barked up the wrong tree.
Mirror1.com,
OGHUSKEYRadio.com.
Crazy story, man. One crazy story. We'll let you get back. You know what I mean, to doing what you do. But
yeah,
crazy story while out doing what you do, man. I mean, that the cop one was pretty dope. But I'm saying, like, let's take it back, like, to the quote unquote illegal, or let's say the active days, so that we don't get too.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Oh man, I'll just say this. Anytime I've gone out doing graffiti has been the most extreme kind of emotional journey. I used to have a big 4x4 truck, big hot rod, loud 4x4 truck. It was badass with no roof on it, and we used to go do
a white boy in a 4x4 truck. Nah, come on, dog. I don't believe you.
yeah, NASCAR'd out, man. We'd go, everything from. I think it was the process of how we went bombing. Make as much noise, run as much shit over, set fire to it, blow it up, make it crazy, and then get out of there and have this experience that was life and death, taking it to the razor's edge with each other as friends, and that's what bonded us. A few years back, me and my boy Cisco were climbing a building just off the freeway over here, and on my way up, I used the extension pole to reach down like a story and hook on to the little roller head, a 5-gallon bucket, and pull it up. And as I'm pulling it up, he's coming up behind me, and I dropped the bucket on him, and it bounced off him and exploded on the floor. And this crazy fool went down there and started scooping the paint back into the bucket. And I'm thinking, damn, that shit was so loud. We fucking blew it. We might as well bail and get out of here before the cops show up. This fool's scooping the paint in the bucket, talking about, all right, I think we got enough to finish it. Let's get back up there. And, so it's just constantly, just crazy shit like that. I mean, we weren't bad kids. We weren't going around shooting people. And we weren't burning down people's personal private shit. We weren't hurting anyone innocent. We were out there trying to set an example of how you should look at authority and how you should deal with the law. Like, that shit's irrelevant. Like, you make up your own law. You are your own authority, and you should be responsible enough to say that. Anyone out there that's crazy, that's, out to hurt people, shouldn't be thinking these ways. But we should be encouraging each other to further ourselves, be more than we thought, and stop living under the thumb of the system,
And you got a lecture coming up too, man. And pretty soon they could go on mirror1.com and
Yeah.
follow you around. But what's up with the lecture, man? Is the lecture, is that graph, man? I mean, you're
Uh,
supposed to be out mobbing, tearing shit up,
Well,
blowing
you
shit
know,
up.
I mean, here's the deal, man. Graffiti is the voice of the dissatisfied soul. And with that, what I mean is that when you have oppression and repression of people and you take things away from people, you're going to have a reaction, a byproduct to that. And the byproduct to what has happened in America's poverty, in America's urban cities, in Americans' ghettos, and commercialization, marketing, and all that crap shoved down our throats is vandalism, is a general disrespect for the crap that they've put in our face. And, you know, that's generally where I'm coming from with my speech and what I'm talking about with this lecture out at Brown. But this is a major problem, you know, that we live in. We live in a reality that's controlled, and that we ourselves can slowly, if not careful, become patented by stuff as stupid as eating a genetically modified product that affects our composure, our cells, our DNA. If that changes and it matches what they've already patented, then we're their property. And so that's why speaking is important for someone like me who's a graffiti artist, fine artist, is that I'm vandalizing your mind right now. I'm tagging on your brain, but I'm not putting up bullshit. I'm putting up what I like to do, which is beautiful artwork, the truth. You know, things that, a light in the darkness, you know.
Keep up the good work, man. Thank you for your time, man.
Thank you.
Mirror1.com, OGHUSKEY Radio. Stay posted. More interviews to come.